Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, otherwise known in this part of the world as Fat Tuesday. I am Jer Stays, and joining me on the line is...
Fletcher Sharp.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Feeling my age a little bit. When I was younger for Fat Tuesday, at my high school, we used to have some of the mothers come and sell punchkis to everybody. And I would, on average, while there, eat like maybe 7 or 8. We had one kid who I watched him throughout the day eat at least like 19. And I don't know, like, if he ever got sick, but I do know he's climbing mountains now. So like he stopped eating punchkis, but like me today, 1.5. And I think I'm good for the sugar intake.
Okay, so that means if there's only 1.5, that means a possibility of 2 flavors. And of those, what 2 flavors would those be? Since now you can't basically eat the box, right? 7 or 8, you could take a flyer on a plum or something.
Yeah, I would not do that.
But 1 or 2, you got to be more specific.
Lemon and custard in that order.
Really?
And then after that, like, whatever. Like, I used to like apple, and then one year someone put, like, actual apple pieces in there, and I wasn't expecting it, and, like, it just turned me off entirely. So, yeah.
Really?
Lemon or custard. More towards lemon, but, you know, I'm either or, I'll be fine.
Now, are you pro pieces in, like, pie or something? Is this consistent? Or do you like more of, like, I don't have a really good word for it, but the goo?
Apple pie for me is weird. My favorite apple pie is going to get me probably jumped. It's McDonald's apple pie.
I mean, it'll do you in a pinch.
And like American McDonald's apple pie. I went over to Canada and got an apple pie at one of the McDonald's there, and it was like glazed and like weirdly shaped, and then I bit into it and it just was bad. But like the American McDonald's apple pie is like my favorite apple pie ever, and I tell people this, they turn their noses up at me, which makes me think 2 things. What, you think you're too good for McDonald's apple pie? And then the second thing is more for me.
That is amazing, sir. You know, I love apple pie. McDonald's is not my favorite, but I will not say no. I will gladly grab it. For me, I would say that I am the opposite of you in that I definitely am all about the apple punchki, but it is second to the raspberry, which listeners of the show will know that is probably my thing. So probably raspberry, apple, and then maybe blueberry would be in there. But interesting choices, Fletcher. I appreciate it, though. When it comes to like the lemon, there needs to be like a tang there, right? Like lemon can go one of 2 ways. If they don't execute the lemon right, it's not going to sing.
Well, no, if they don't execute the lemon right, it's just basically a yellow custard, which is still fine to me because it's still, custardy. I don't need to be too sour, just maybe like a little bit, just to let me know that it is actually from a citrus something, and I'll be fine. But yeah, lemon, custard, just not prune. Prune's bad. Won't even talk about it anymore. Just prune's bad.
All right, let's get into some sports. You know, people aren't necessarily here for just punchki talk, though I'm all about it. The Red Wings, and I'll just admit, we haven't spent a lot of time on them this year. The Red Wings have a shot at the playoffs, man, and I feel like we need to talk about it. When a major team's got a chance like this, I remember the championship parades. I was there for them. So, like, the Red Wings maybe having a shot in the playoffs, I'm like, this is a little bit of life again. I'm excited about it.
Detroit used to be, sports town. Every team was doing pretty well. Pistons, Tigers, Red Wings, Lions even to some degree. This lull that they've been in has not been great. I know all of my Red Wings fans when I was in high school were like, since I've been alive, we've never not made the playoffs. And then since that point, they have not been back to the playoffs once that record stopped because people really wanted them to not make the playoffs and then rebuild.
I remember those days. We had told ourselves so hard there was going to be 2 or 3 years and we're going to be back. Like this was this like feeling of like it was going to be like a big city rebuild where, like some of those dominant teams and dynastic teams, it's like they go out for like a year or 2, but then they're back. They had a couple of like years in the wilderness. But no, that was not the case. And it's one of my greater disappointments in local Detroit sports, for sure.
The Red Wings have a slight chance to make the playoffs. They're clinging to a wild card position, hopefully. They're not there yet, but they're very close. They need a few things to go their way. Their goal differential being what it is right now is not necessarily great. It shows that their offense and defense, while, are similar, they're not being led by their goals. So they need to tighten up on the defensive end a little bit more.
I want to lean on the hope side, though, because there is so much like energy around this. And I admit I have not been to a Wings game in in a while, and I feel like people just haven't been as enthused lately.
Well, I mean, no, it's hard to get enthused when it's not a winning team. When you've grown up with a team being a winning team and you've just been accustomed to them winning or them making the playoffs or them doing something. When they stop doing that, it kind of, takes your soul out. Kind of what I've learned through multiple television shows when people talk about hope, it's the hope that kills you. And I'm sure some of them might be dead inside walking around. Here's to hoping they turn it around. A -7 goal differential isn't bad, like I said, but considering the fact that everyone they're chasing has a positive one and some teams have ridiculously positive one, they're going to have to tighten it up defensively, which they can do, but also going to have to score, which I don't know if they can do.
So it's kind of like the Lions in a way where it's like, I don't think there were high hopes for this season, to be honest with you. I feel like there's been a little bit of doubt with some people. Some people are very much on the Iser plan, and some people have started to have some doubts, I'll be honest.
It's hard when you think that some players are cornerstones, they're supposed to be part of the plan, and you look up and they're being let go or traded or released, or players you think are in the way of some of the younger players are getting re-signed to stay there and still be in the way of the young studs that they have. I mean, it's kind of like all the Detroit teams right now. I know the Pistons have their GM to trust, and the Lions have theirs. The Red Wings got to just, hope that Steve Yzerman is doing what he thinks is best for the entire team and not just what he thinks might be best looking as an executive.
And the other thing is, I don't think that he gets too emotional about it, where if he thinks somebody's not going to work out, it's clear he has no problem shipping him out or dealing him.
Yeah, and that's the mark that you want for someone who's running a team. It stinks because as a fan, of course, you form attachments to players. I'm sure even the owners and everyone else in the front office do as well. But if someone's not working out or someone is poisoning the well of your team, you got to let them go. Like, they have to go somewhere else. Or you notice that someone is maybe still contributing, but like they're past the point of getting better and they're only going to go down from here. If you can get a few draft picks that can bolster your team, or you can get a few players that are going to bolster your team who are younger, who just need to, play in one of the minor leagues for a minute, do it. And I know it's going to stink because it makes fans upset, again, forming an attachment. I trust Steve Yzerman's only making moves he thinks can make this team better. I don't think he's making any moves to save money or cut costs. I think all the moves he's making are to make the team better. Maybe not this year, but make the team better soon.
Let's talk Tigers. I got thinking about this because you said, names that people love. And one of them for a lot of Tigers fans right now is Miguel Cabrera. This is his final season, the big hoorah. This season, during the weekdays, those games are going to start a half hour earlier at 6:40 p.m. I feel like I want to talk about it because, I'm so used to games starting at around that 7 o'clock time, a little after. And I think this is going to be a shift that might impact attendance and viewability. What do you think?
You'll get a few more school kids who might get to go. It'll be a nicer, family-friendlier event because I know some people don't want to take their kids to an event that starts at 7 knowing they're going to leave the event potentially at 10, if not later, which means they're not going to get home till later. So save for those real baseball nutty parents who don't mind their kid showing up to school tired. Most parents are like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to try to get my kid to sleep after eating all that $25 hot dog and other things that are going to keep my kid jacked up. So this will be a good chance to maybe increase some attendance numbers. I know the Tigers are trying to do whatever they can to get people to show up. They put out their potential starting lineup for opening day, and some people are comparing it to what the Mud Hens have and thinking maybe they should send them up instead.
Ouch. So I think this time is a lot more possible in this age of more people working from home and stuff. Because, it used to be that if you had to do the commute, go home, pick up the kids, go back out. That's a heck of a loop, right? Depending on where you're working. And what I know is in Metro Detroit that lots of people go a long way in their cars for stuff if they've got to drive to work. A commute from Warren to Livonia or Grosse Pointe to Troy or, Grosse Pointe to, Dearborn or Ann Arbor isn't unheard of, right? Or Detroit to Birmingham or whatever. And so I think that loop made it a lot more difficult to meet a 6:40 time. But if you're working from home or if you got some flexibility, I feel like it's something that you can bring the kids out. You can get done a little bit earlier. When you start events earlier, it's just my experience. They become more family friendly. And I feel like during the week, this could be a good move. The other thing is it'll be more daylight. I think that it'd be possible with a 6:40 start if you kept the game moving. In the middle of summer, you could be done right around the time of sunset.
Yeah, definitely. And that is perfect for those people who have kids who need to get home and, again, have school and other things like that. I'm not saying it's going to increase attendance for school-aged kids every single game, but you're probably going to see more kids with their little goofy signs asking for balls just because games are starting a bit earlier, which ultimately is great. I mean, unfortunately, I might be watching a dumpster fire for 160 something games, but you get to learn, as a Tigers fan, learn to deal with the pain early, and then you can progress forward. So when they get to be good, you can enjoy it a bit better.
All right, before we go, let's talk a little Detroit City FC. We now know about our Open Cup opponents, and they're close by, but they're not familiar. I mean, there's familiar faces, but this is a brand new team. Let's talk about it, Fletcher.
Yep, Gold Star FC Detroit. I know a lot of people were hoping they got Michigan Stars again to embarrass them again and make fun of them and make them talk about the smells and darkness they were sabotaged with. But the U.S. Open Cup put a rule in where you cannot play the same team back-to-back in back-to-back years. While Gold Star FC is going to be coming to Hamtramck, Michigan Stars will be schlepping out to Indiana to play Indy 11 in their new revamped offense. So good luck to them, I guess.
They're going to be running into a buzzsaw, sir.
That offense is projected to be in the top 3 in the league, so I hope that they have their running shoes out there. But the matchup for Detroit City is against Gold Star FC. For those who don't know, is a new team. It's going to be in NISA, the 3rd division, where Detroit City FC left 2 years ago. Based out in Livonia, going to be playing their home games at Madonna, if possible. I say if possible because the stadium is not built yet and the season is rapidly approaching. They are filling out their roster with a few going more the local route. They have players like Albara Al-Sufi, who's from Dearborn, played at Concordia, was recently at the Yemen national team camp. He also spent some time with City United, which is a USPL team, which is like 4th division, but they're based in Hamtramck as well. Also on Gold Star's roster is Noraoud, who's also from Michigan, Brandon Barnes, keeper, spent some time with Chicago House AC, Lucas Berg, German-American striker who's from Ann Arbor, Carter Burris, wing defender who went to Liberty University, and one more player who everyone knows, Roddy Green, formerly of Detroit City FC, formerly of Chattanooga. He's not been formally announced, but I will say this. When they had this picture on Chattanooga, on NISA's website, they updated the picture, and it was him standing there wearing a Gold Star FC jersey. So, cat's out the bag. We knew he wasn't going back to Chattanooga, where people were wondering where he was going to go next, so they uploaded a picture in the database, and he's wearing a Gold Star shirt. So, he's going to be playing with Gold Star. One more name who people might recognize slightly if they follow NISA that well or follow the Stars. Waleed Sharif, forward from Houston, Texas. Citizen of the U.S. and Algeria. He's a forward. So they have a few players who've played professionally before. No one who scored a goal professionally before, but they have a few names. I'm less likely to look down on Gold Star than as I am, say, Michigan Stars, because unlike Michigan Stars and even DCFC for this measure, Gold Star has a sister team in Andorra, who is actually the champions of Andorra, one of the best teams in Andorra, and I know Andorra is not the U.S. I think their top division is under the USL Championship in terms of play, but to win a championship in any league more than once is not an easy thing to do. Even if it's a league of like children, it's still very hard to do. So you have to respect that. It means they know how a team is supposed to be run properly. So them bringing that to the field, I think, will be helpful going forward for NISA. I don't think it's going to matter in the U.S. Open Cup match. I think they're going to get punched in the face a few times. But, we'll see. It's going to be a very, very big night at Hamtramck again. And I'm sure the fans will make them feel welcome for 90 minutes.
Right. In the way that you can only be made felt welcome in Keyworth. Now, this Open Cup, a little refresher for people. This is a knockout tournament. This kind of highlights the best in American pro soccer. It's like a separate kind of tournament that is not tied to the regular season. And traditionally, I'm just looking on the website right now to confirm this, but the second round, which is what DCFC jumps in on, right, at this level, because of where they're at in the pyramid being part of the championship, this would be happening the week kind of like April 4th, 5th, or 6th. So that gives you an idea. So early April is when this match would happen.
And it'll be a midweek match for those wondering if it's going to be a weekend taking away from anything. The U.S. Open Cup matches are always in the middle of the week, typically Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of like last year. I'm not sure if they're included in the ticket package or not for DCFC. We'll find out as it gets closer. But if not, then I'm sure the prices will be the same, just like when Michigan Stars came last year, or when Columbus Crew came last year, or when Louisville City came for the U.S. Open Cup. It should be an electrifying match just from the atmosphere alone. the extra people who can come out and make it, and for those who can't. But typically, I've not seen a U.S. Open Cup match at Keyworth for Detroit City that has not been loud and exciting.
For sure, for sure. And that's one of the beautiful things about soccer that is special. And we don't have as much of it here in the United States because we don't have promotion and relegation. But to have something other than just the regular season and the playoffs to play for, it makes it so much more interesting for so many more teams. And, this is great to see. And of course, I know the schedule's packed. I know the logistics hard or whatever, but this is the kind of thing, along with like the international friendlies, that makes soccer kind of really special,
I mean, looking back when DCFC played against Venezia and Cyrus Haiti put half their team in the blender, it's like Cyrus is an amazing talent. He's an amazing player, and take nothing away from him. But the players he's playing against were playing in Italy. Some have played for national teams, only like maybe 2. But some have played like at the highest level of Italy, Italian national team, etc. In a way, it's like someone who is an amateur level, maybe semi-professional level soccer player who's also a soccer coach is on the same field as someone who played for the Ukraine national team. You flip it to the U.S. Open Cup, which is like the FA Cup or Copa del Rey in Spain, etc. You might have your team that's, pretty good in your men's league. You guys play around. You guys all work at a grocery store or something like that. And you put your team together and you play in a little league. You win your league. You win a little tournament games. You look up and now you're playing against Sporting Kansas City in their home stadium. Like, it's really cool how it takes teams from very, very small areas and potentially pits them against, professional teams. And I mentioned a grocery store. Exactly, because Christos FC in Maryland, that's their story. They are a grocery store / liquor store who have a bunch of soccer players who are very, very good. And they routinely house all the amateur level teams, and they get to play against professional teams almost every year. Very, very good team to look for and watch for. So it's very cool to just see players you might have forgotten about. Like, oh, this guy's been under the spotlight for 7 years. Where is he? He's in Missouri at a Foot Locker leading this team in goals against, some other team, and now he's playing against a professional team again. It gives people chances to spot players. Heck, it gives people who are fans of DCFC, you play against a smaller team, they have a player that's really nice and local, you beat their team, hey, guess what? We want to offer him a contract.
100%, 100%. That's one of the reasons why soccer is such a game of merit, and I really hope there are so many more opportunities for it. This is absolutely great. A deep run into the Open Cup would be a lot of fun. Fletcher Sharp, it is so good to talk to you.
Of course, it's good to be here and be useful, even on a day like Fat Tuesday.
Well, if we're right, if we're wrong, tell us. dailydetroit@gmail.com. With that, I'm J.R. Stays. Thank you so much for listening to Your Daily Detroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around town.